Welcome back to the Tiny Tropical Garden. This is episode 6 of this series covering the creation of my tiny tropical garden in the southwest of the UK. So there were some big changes in the garden over the past couple of weeks. Finally, that ugly, rotten green shed had gone. Now without the shed there, it opened up the garden so much. Straight away I was thinking about what plants and trees I could put there, but we need to get another shed because we need storage. So instead, we thought, how about a seating area in front of a smaller shed? Straight away, I put some chairs down in the empty gap and started to imagine how great things might look. But as I was sitting there, I did wonder what the fate of the old shed might be. Anyway, back to work. We then painted the back fence panel with Ronseal Country Oak fence paint. The dark brown contrasts really well against our tropical and exotic plants. I then gave all the fence panels a quick lick of paint to get all of the garden boundaries looking tidy. Our local garden centre was selling off all of their ex-display sheds at a discounted price, so we bought one and had to take it down and prep our garden pretty quickly for delivery. To create the level base for the shed floor, which luckily already had joists screwed to the bottom of it, I used these breeze blocks. Our garden gets seriously wet in the winter, so I wanted to be sure that the shed floor was plenty high enough away from the ground. Delivery day arrived and I put the shed base in place to check that everything was level. It was perfect. I couldn't put the shed up myself, so I had to get my dad round to help out. You can see this new shed is smaller than the monster that was here before. This will give us space to build a tiny decking area at the bottom of our tiny tropical garden. Already, the garden was looking better against the backdrop of this new shed. My uncle popped over for a couple of days and helped build our tiny decking area. First, we set corner posts into the ground and built a subframe. I applied some wood preservative to this before we laid the decking planks. The next day, the decking went down and things really started to come together. I used an oil instead of stain as I prefer a more natural look on the wood. A lot of people have warned me that this can make the deck seriously slippery in the winter. But I'm calling this a fair weather deck, and I don't think we'll be using that end of the garden much during the depths of winter. The difference 2 days can make is incredible. It's so much nicer looking through our tiny tropical garden to a natural wooden seating area and wooden shed. The next project on my list was to divide this Huchera. I love the colours on this one, and as we've had Huchera rust in the rest of the garden, I'd like to try and propagate some backup plants. To divide a Huchera plant, you need to take divisions from right at the base of the plant. When you look closely, there are separate growth points that will come apart quite easily. It's always better, if you can, to get some root growth to stay attached to your new divided plants, as this will massively increase its chances of survival. I took off some of the extra foliage to leave just about 3 or 4 leaves on the new plants and then potted it into regular potting compost. Now in this warm weather, I'm going to store these somewhere cool to establish themselves, and I'll give you an update on how they look in the future. I think these changes have made a massive difference to the garden. Now if you'd like to follow along on the journey of growing my tiny tropical garden, then hit subscribe, and if you've got any tips, advice or questions, comment below and I'll get back to you. Cheers for watching.